Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Raw Real Podcast. We are your hosts. Sitting in for Coach Tony T this evening is Mr. Sexy Lex Lanson.
Nice being here, brother.
Thank you. And I'm Shane the Pain. We came to educate and we came to entertain.
Nobody calls you that.
Nobody calls me that. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen. Our first topic of this evening is what's trending, Lex.
Ooh,
and this was something that was announced a couple of weeks ago, and I wanted to run this by you. So our provincial government here in Quebec is wanting to ban the use of cell phones in children's classrooms.
I agree.
Now, here's the thing, Lex. You and I, we grow up in a period of time where, you know, cell phones were in its infancy. You know, we didn't really use these devices in our classroom. And we're seeing more younger generations, you know, adopting the technology. A lot more children have these cell phones.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the thing, Lex. I mean, we've been shown some things, right, where children have been filming certain behaviors of teachers in the classroom and how they interact with the teachers in the classroom. So I know that your initial response was,
right?
Yeah,
the silver lining.
I knew your initial response was that you agree, because obviously it can be a distraction. I agree with that as well.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, now we're seeing a shortage in teachers, all right, across the country, and specifically in Canada, in Quebec, excuse me. And a lot of people have been, you know, making some concerning comments to our premier about how we're going to backfill those jobs, right?
Right.
And are these individuals necessarily qualified, right? Where it's always been an issue in Quebec, ladies and gentlemen, that if you were someone who came from abroad and perhaps were a professor, wherever it is that you came from, that you had to complete complete an exam to ensure that you meet the requirements of the education system here in the province. Right. But now we're not really seeing many of those people apply for the jobs. And so it begs the question, you know, who's teaching our children? Yeah. And do you want to have access and visibility to what's going on in your child's classroom?
Yeah, so it seems like they want to hire out of desperation. I get where you're coming from. And I guess we do need to keep a good eye on.
Absolutely.
I mean, even rewind 25 years ago, right? Nobody knew what was going on in the classrooms. I mean, teachers could be talking about anything, and anything inappropriate or anything that just has nothing to do with the course. So why not keep an eye?
And let's be serious. Children can be storytellers, right? So when we were growing, I was definitely a storyteller, ladies and gentlemen. I
embellish.
I embellished a lot. I was a liar too. Thank God my name wasn't Pinocchio and my nose didn't grow. But to be honest with you, like, we didn't have cell phones in our classrooms, right? So, you know, there was times where I fibbed, obviously, to stay out of trouble. But there was times where I was telling the truth, but I had lied so many times it was a boy crying wolf type situation, right? So, you know, nowadays parents are relying more on that, you know, physical evidence to be able to believe their children, right? And so it is an interesting topic. We'd like to know your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to leave a comment in the comment section if you agree as to whether or not children's cell phones should be banned from the classrooms. Moving on to the next topic, Lex, and this is the therapy session of our show. All right, it's where we get to get things off of our chest, things about society that annoy us. All right.
Oh, dude, you're gonna have to get me a long list of
because there's a lot.
I need a scroll.
But this week, ladies and gentlemen, on what peeves me off, what I'm going to point out is the people who are walking down the street with their head down in their phone.
Ooh, I thought you were gonna say the mask.
No, not the mask. Not the mask, but the people who are constantly walking up and down the streets, looking at their phone, or even in the shopping malls. I mean, I saw a woman today crossing the street.
With the phone.
With the phone?
Yeah.
Didn't even bother to look up to see what color the light was, how many seconds she's got left on the meter to cross the road.
Just risking life.
Just
She's
risking
feeling
life.
lucky today.
Yes.
I don't even think it's a generational thing, because you see people in their 40s, 50s just strolling in the metro, on the bus, head down on the phone. I think it's a problem.
I don't mind. I mean, if you're stationary, you're sitting down on the train or the metro or the bus, there's nothing wrong with that, right? But I mean, when you're in a situation where there's risk factors out there.
Well, how many people do you hear like walking in between the subway cars, right? That's
crazy.
That is insane.
That is crazy.
That is distraction beyond measure.
So it begs the question, you can't use your cell phone when you're driving, right? Should we be allowed to use our cell phones when we're walking? Can humanity be trusted to walk and look at your cell phone at the same time?
No,
I don't think so either.
I don't think it's a good idea.
I don't think so either. I mean, and is it that important that you have to be looking at your phone 24/7? I mean, unless it's an emergency,
I would
right?
say a 97% chance it's not that important.
It's not that important.
It's not that important.
No, we could let it be unless it's an emergency. And let's be realistic. If you're in a shopping mall or if you're walking on the street and you're getting a phone call or you got to respond to a text message, I don't think there's any harm in just pulling over to the side, going on to the side, doing what you got to do because you're impeding my ability. Because now here I am at the shopping mall trying to navigate my way around 1,000
Yeah.
people. And then I got you walking in front of me, not even noticing.
Just dead stop.
I mean, I got wide shoulders. I'm comparable to a fridge, ladies and gentlemen. So I've got to make a couple leaps to the right or to the left to avoid traffic, all right? But that's something that peeves me off. I don't know if it peeves you off, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a little bit older. I'm part of an older generation, so I'm starting to notice that some of the little things are ticking me off a little bit
The
more. these days.
generational gap
Yeah,
is
man.
getting wider.
It's
now.
getting
It's
wider.
getting wider. Yeah, I don't know. I'm annoyed with the phones too. When I'm out in public, shopping malls, wherever it may be, vacation especially, I want my phone in my pocket. You know what I mean? Especially if I got my loved ones with me.
Yes.
I don't need it. Just whatever is being uploaded to the internet at that point in time. Because guaranteed, these people that you're seeing walking around, most of the time they're on social media.
Oh, absolutely.
Whatever is happening there, you'll catch up to it when you're sitting on the john when you get home at the end of the day. Like that's
love
just,
that.
that's just kind of the way I see it.
I love and you know what? You're 100% right because if you're sitting in the same room with your family and everybody's on a device, you're not spending quality time with each other.
Well, you
ladies
might
and
as well
gentlemen.
be on Meta.
You might as well
Get the goggles, get the headphones.
Lex, I mean, I'm seeing families now who are in the same house that refuse to speak to each other and they're communicating to each other through their devices.
That's wild.
I mean,
I hear
what
about
is
it.
the world getting to, ladies and gentlemen? Spend more time with each other, face to face. Use your voice. Make eye contact.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that a lot of people are unhappy with their reality. So they're just looking for any way to not see their own reality around them because it's just to them they're just not happy with it. So
And let's be realistic. These social media companies and media companies and tech companies do a really good job
yeah, of course.
at making these bells and whistles and all these fancy topics for you to stay distracted and invest your energy in these things and totally neglect yourself. You know what? I went camping with my wife. We made it a point to put the phones away, you know, because we're spending time in nature. We want to ground. We want to feel the Earth's frequency.
disconnect
We want to
or
disconnect. Reconnect.
Reconnect.
Much better. Reconnect, right? With what's going on around us. Taking an opportunity to look up.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the night, I must have spent an hour and a half looking up at the stars. And there's so many stars because there's less light pollution out there.
One of the most beautiful things we could set our eyes on.
Absolutely.
It's incredible.
Absolutely. There's so many beautiful things out there, ladies and gentlemen, for you to experience.
Just put the phone in
If
the
you just
pocket.
put your phone in your pocket or put it away or leave it in the car when you're going for a walk.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let us know in the comments below if that peeves you off or if I'm just a boomer. Let me know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to our next topic. It's the great debate. And for those of you who were following us last time, it was food related. And it's going to be food related again today. All right. But this one's going to be a real difficult one. Who makes the better food? Greeks or Italians? Damn. We're going to be here all night, ladies and gentlemen.
Greek food's good.
Greek food is amazing. The Mediterranean diet, ladies and gentlemen, it's known to elongate your lifespan, your life expectancy. But Italians,
Listen, if you asked me if I had to eat one cuisine for the rest of my life, as good as Greek is, I'd have to go Italian.
I think you're making some enemies on your first day, Lex.
I might be. You know what it is? Listen, I went to a high school that was predominantly Italian.
We went to the same
We
school.
went to the same school. So it's just like you're going to your friend's house. Mom's cooking the stuffed pepper. She's making the the chicken cutlet parmesan.
Yes.
Just and like hand cooked pasta.
Yes.
Not that Barilla shit. in the
Made from
grocery
scratch
store.
with the dough and the eggs.
Yes. Yes. And you eat it. You feel it in your gut, and you sit down on the couch, and life is good.
I got to give it up to the Italians. All right. Now, listen, I've been spending the last 18 months intermittent fasting. And for those of you who don't know what it is, it's literally living on a calorie deficit. All right. I don't eat for 16 hours and I eat what I want within an 8-hour window. And, you know, in that time, I've shrunken my stomach. And so the portions that I eat are a lot smaller now. All right. And I feel a lot lighter, you know, and I've lost some significant weight as a result of it. But the thing that astonishes me is that I can look at an Italian man who has a similar physique, but his body is used to having 3, 4, 5-course meals, especially on Sundays. On Sundays, the Italians love to get together with their family members.
I've been a part of it, man.
They feast.
It's amazing.
They feast. And I mean, I couldn't do it. There isn't a pair of pants big enough to keep my belly in after a sitting like that. I couldn't even get through the second sitting, you know, like the second course. You guys know how to eat. But I got to say that Greek food,
man.
Listen, I love the donors, the gyros, the chicken pitas, the souvlakis, but the fish, the olives. You ever go to Greece? The olives in Greece are completely different than the olives here. I mean, there's something about the salt in the air, right? I mean, it just adds such a rich flavor to the food. Personally, I would have to pick Greek over Italian, just because it appears to be a healthier diet. Pasta having a lot of carbs and starch, you know, you can let yourself get away, eating that. And that's not to say that, you know, Greeks don't have fatty plates either, right?
Well, in terms of a healthy diet, I think Greek would be the way to go, right?
Absolutely.
But what's interesting is Greece and Italy are known for having some of the oldest living people.
That's right.
And you got to look at the diet, right?
That's right.
I mean, from what I've been told, when you go to Italy and you have a plate of pasta, you don't have that feeling where it's just like you want to roll over and die.
That's right.
Right? You don't have that itis, right? But here, you eat a plate of pasta, it's game over.
You're going to sleep,
Just
man.
put the jogging pants on, it's done.
You're done.
And it says a lot about, you know, the Italian and the Greek diet. It speaks for itself. Right?
Absolutely. And the one thing that I do love about Greeks and Italians is their ability to live off the land.
Yeah.
I find our Western societies are so dependent on the grocery stores and a lot of the processed foods, you know, that we're not even really intaking the proper nutrients and vitamins from our foods, you know, and not only that, we live in a society where we have a lot of genetically modified foods, all right? And although the food is bigger, the nutrients aren't as rich as in organically grown food.
You're eating empty calories all day.
Absolutely.
Processed empty calories.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, when my wife and I went to Greece, we would literally pick off pomegranates and walnuts off the tree in the middle of the afternoon, and we would sit there and we would have our snack, and you feel light. You feel super, super light. But ladies and gentlemen, let us know in the comment section below, who do you think makes the better food? Is it the Greeks or is it the Italians?
What do you think it is? What's your opinion?
I'm biased. It's Greek for me.
Yeah.
It's Greek for me. I'm biased.
The wife is watching.
The wife is watching, all right? I want to wake up tomorrow morning, ladies and gentlemen, but wholeheartedly, I love Greek food. Oh. I love it.
But if I can interject a third, my wife is Portuguese.
Oh, the piri-piri chicken, man.
They're right there. Because they're right by the ocean, too.
They're right there, man. I mean, all of these European countries that lie by either the Mediterranean Sea or the Atlantic coast. I mean, there is such rich culture there. And you know what? The foods that we're naming, Lex, these are like stereotype foods. I mean, you literally have to go to these villages and try the delicatessens of each and every, you know, little town that you visit, all right? Because you're gonna realize that their menu is a lot greater or has a lot more items on it than the restaurants
There's
offer.
a million more items on their menus that we've never even heard of. That are just as good, if not better.
Get out there, ladies and gentlemen. I promise you, you won't regret it. All right, moving on to the very last topic of our show. It is conspiracy talk.
Oh, let's do it.
This is right up our alley.
This is what I'm born for.
Now, here's a disclaimer. Tony and I always say this. We don't know what we don't know, ladies and gentlemen. All right, but we always like to explore these ideas, and we always like to hear your feedback as well.
Speculation.
So today, Lex, we're talking about direct energy weapons and climate change and whether the two are correlated. Now, here's one thing I can tell you is that the general public may think that direct energy weapons don't exist. Well, as a matter of fact, we have a theoretical physicist by the name of Michio Kaku. who in 2010 went public on live, I think on NBC or one of the network stations, and discussed direct energy weapons and its application and how we are using it. And the military has now weaponized it. But the reason
we've seen the image of the plane.
we've seen images of the plane, we've seen the lens on the front of the plane, and then. I'm going to tie this into Maui, all right, and the fires, because initially, ladies and gentlemen, these fires were being reported as wildfires, all right? And then citizens started posting to social media about these strange lights coming from the sky and how, fires in different areas all starting at the same time, but, one is 500 kilometers away from the other location. And then we're hearing stories about how Hawaii's electric company took responsibility for initiating the fires, and now they're laying blame on the fire department. Lex, what do you think? You think that these fires that we're now seeing, or an increase of natural disasters, is an actual result of climate change, or is it the powers that be that are using technology to control a particular narrative?
Listen, man, the direct energy weapons topic is not new. Rewind 2-3 years ago to those crazy California fires.
Yes.
People were having the same reports. And one of the things that California fires and the Maui fires share in common is, like, when you look at the aerial view of the burnt area, the affected areas.
Yes.
It's almost identical in the sense where, you have all the houses that are destroyed and trees are intact. Certain things... like my sister's house burned in the fire, right? And she lost her entire house.
Sorry to hear that.
And the entire perimeter of her house is surrounded by cedars and trees. All the trees caught on fire. All the trees caught on fire. So it's just interesting when you look at, like, these images of Maui in California and other places where these direct energy weapon sightings have been reported. They all share these similarities. So I think it's something worth looking into. Unfortunately, it's going to fall in the realm of conspiracy theories and completely
And deaf
dismissed.
ears as well, exactly,
Yeah,
right?
and I mean, I'll leave it at that. What do you have?
Well, I don't think, like, for example, we know the U.S. military has the technology,
course.
right? And the challenge for us, ladies and gentlemen, is we've never really seen a demonstration of this technology in use, right? So
Why would they?
When we have citizens who are, making videos and we are seeing certain things in the sky, or we're seeing certain lights in the sky that we can't account for, or that we can't, we can't really figure out what it is. It leads us to speculate, right?
Well, it gives birth to these conspiracy theories, right?
Exactly.
And the interesting thing about it is, like, we've all seen videos of these beams of light, right? Every time there's a fire, there's like a surge of these videos being uploaded.
Yes.
Showing the same thing. And you would think that, like, at least the news would try to cover it, debunk it, if anything, right?
Yes.
Or come up with some type of explanation.
Or investigate.
Or
it. You're
investigate.
investigative journalists. That's what you should be doing by trade. I agree.
Journalism's dead, my friend.
I know.
But I mean, I wouldn't rule it out. Especially, I mean, there's rumors circulating that certain celebrities were trying to acquire land in these areas, right?
Oprah Winfrey has acquired several acres of land in Maui. And, we've already heard the reports of real estate agents calling into the victims of the disaster, and soliciting the sale of their homes and their land, and then we're hearing stories of tenants being kicked out of their homes, because they want to
allowed to go back.
No, because they want to use their property as a command center. And I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but Hawaii is hosting a digital governmental summit in September to discuss the possibility of having artificial intelligence govern the island.
I heard about
and
this as
turning
well.
the island into a smart island, which would be run off of smart electricity and things of that nature. So, I mean, how could one not ask the question if this is being done on purpose?
Yeah, it's definitely very interesting, and, like, why it's not being examined further. I mean, there's a lot of people that are, but if I'm not mistaken, back in March of this year, I think there was something signed where they were to build their first smart city.
Yes.
I heard they passed something. I don't know too much about it, but I overheard this, and it just all seems so convenient. And time again, like, these convenient things happen where it's like they have an agenda, they want to push it, there's some resistance, something happens, a natural disaster, a fire, a flooding, and it's just time and time again.
Absolutely. Let me ask you a question, all right? And it's not related to the topic, ladies and gentlemen, but when we see celebrities like Oprah Winfrey
Or The Rock.
or The Rock, going on TV and asking citizens like us, to contribute and donate to the families who have suffered. I mean, what are your initial thoughts about that? And I mean, it's not something we haven't seen before, ladies and gentlemen, but I just think now we have access to so much information that maybe we're looking at this solicitation under a different light. What do you think?
Listen, when it comes to The Rock, Oprah Winfrey, I don't trust these people as far as I could throw them. They have enough money to scrounge together themselves and make an impact without going public and asking people like regular citizens like you and me for money that we can barely scrape by with our mortgage rates and super inflation at the grocery store. So the nerve to ask us, especially when you consider the amount of money that's going to Ukraine.
Mm-hmm. The proxy war, yeah.
They've sent
billions,
if I'm not mistaken, over $100 billion so far.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure they could have sauced a little bit of that on the side and sent it to Maui.
The federal government is responsible for providing that aid. And we're seeing how Justin Trudeau fell short of that with the BC wildfires. We're seeing how Joe Biden fell short of that, offering $700 or something in the tune of $500 to $700 in relief. I mean,
one-time check.
Yeah, what will that really do for a victim who's lost everything?
It'll disrespect them.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
It just comes off as insensitive and disingenuous to me.
When
you've got celebrities who have the amount of wealth that they have, and just like you said, considering the climate we're living in with inflation and increased cost of living, I mean, it just comes off as insensitive, and I get it, right? We're thinking of ourselves and saying, during this time, it's difficult for us. We also have to put ourselves in the shoes of the victims as well, where, we are fortunate. We are very fortunate and in a better off position, but we're struggling ourselves.
And if I could add, I just think that, yes, the way they went about it can come across disingenuous. And to people like me, if it was presented in a different fashion, let's say, hey, this is The Rock here, this is Oprah Winfrey here. The federal government's not doing shit to help Maui. Help us sign this petition, or let's go to the Capitol. Let's demand that Maui gets the financial aid that they require at this moment in time. Then, yes, I'm on board.
Let's get together and put pressure on the establishment that is meant to provide that aid.
Because, you're asking me to donate money on top of the millions and millions of taxpayer dollars that are already sent to the government, which should already have a set aside budget for these emergency responses.
Excellent point.
I mean, it's wild to me. It's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. Absolutely, it is a no-brainer. Ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you think in the comments below. And if you enjoy what we do and you want to tune into our future podcast episodes, make sure to like, follow, and share, and subscribe to our channel. I want to thank Lex Lanson this evening for being a part of this experience. We'll be seeing a little bit more of him. Just to give you an update, Tony will be indispensable for the next little while, but he will definitely be back. And we're looking to have Lex on a more full-time basis and have him expand in other areas, whether it be wellness or relationship talk. He's a very sexual man by nature. That's why we call him Sexy Lex.
Sexy Lex.
And it's definitely a topic that he's passionate about. We want him to be more involved in speaking about other topics that he's passionate about so that we can cover a wide range of topics on our show, not just these, reoccurring topics that we have. And so hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, you'll give him a warm welcome. We sincerely appreciate him being here with us today.
Dude, I was so excited to be here that I missed the men's semifinal U.S. Open match.
And I know you're a tennis lover.
I'm a fucking
tennis
fan.
know you're a tennis lover.
And it's I don't know if you follow tennis right now, but
I'm a football guy.
It's spicy right now.
You know who I like? I like Nick Kyrgios, by the way. I think
he doesn't play
enough. He's going to be great for the future, and if we can get more people on like him. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for tuning in. We can't wait to see you next week. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend, and you take care.